The cold is a chisel. It carves the breath from their lungs and flakes the skin from their knuckles. For 3 days, the clan has tracked the scent of the dying beast, a promise of fat and warmth in a world of brittle ice. Now, in the red-tinged light of a low sun, their prize lies before them. A steppe bison, one of the last of the season's stragglers, its life bleeding out onto the frozen ground. This is the world of prehistoric life, a theater of brutal, unwritten rules. The clan works in a symphony of practiced silence. Tail, the strongest of the males, he shoulders a wall of muscle under thick hides, puts his weight on a massive leg to hold the carcass steady. His sister, Nora, her face a mask of concentration, uses the razor edge of her moose Terrium flint hand axe to slice through the thick hide. The sound is a wet rip, a sound of hope. The old matriarch, her eyes missing nothing, directs the butchering with short, guttural commands, ensuring the most nutrient-rich organs are harvested first. Survival here, in the deep past, is a matter of foresight, of calories calculated against the energy spent to acquire them. They are a relic, a whisper of a fading kind of people. These ancient humans, their broad chests and powerful limbs speak of a lineage forged in ice, a chapter of hominid history drawing to its unforgiving close. They work with an urgency born of constant peril, knowing that the scent of blood is an invitation. The younger ones, huddled near the meager fire, watch the perimeter, their fear a tangible presence in the still air. And then, it comes, not a sound, but a feeling, a pressure change in the world. The jays that were squabbling in the skeletal trees fall silent. Kale looks up from his work, his nostrils flaring. He tastes the air and the scent is wrong. It is not the clean iron of bison blood, but something else. Something rank and predatory. The matriarch sees the change in him and her hand freezes. Her gaze sweeps the tree line. A dark, dense wall of pine in shadow. They emerge not as a pack, but as a thought, a single, malevolent intelligence given form. 6 of them, larger than any common wolf, their shoulders high and heavy, their jaws built to crush the bones of Pleistocene megafauna. Dinosaurion, the dire wolves. They do not charge. They flow from the shadows, fanning out in a practiced crescent. Their movements economical and chillingly silent. The alpha, a huge brute with a scarred grey muzzle, fixes its pale eyes on Kale. It is an assessment, a weighing of risk against reward. The clan instinctively draws together, a tight knot of defiance. Spears are raised. The children are pulled into the center of the circle. The matriarch hisses a command, a single, sharp syllable, leave it, a hard choice, etched in the gristle of 1,000 similar encounters. To fight for the meat is to die. Kale's jaw clenches, a low growl rumbling in his chest. But he obeys. He backs away from the kill, his spear tip level with the alpha's blinking stare. As one, the family of early humans begins their retreat, abandoning the world, the vet, the future, to the patient, waiting circle of teeth. The wolves watch them go, and then, as the clan melts into the twilight, the pack descends upon the bison. They do not feast. They take a few token bites. The hunt is not over. It has just begun. The forest becomes a prison of white and grey. For 2 days, the hunt continues. A relentless, grinding pressure that wears away at their resolve. This is not a simple chase. It is a siege. The Aino's Scion Dirus pack is a master of this drawn-out warfare, a product of an evolutionary arms race played out over millennia. These ancient humans possess immense physical power and a deep knowledge of the terrain. Their survival skills honed by a lifetime of hardship. They use narrow ravines to protect their flanks and dense thickets to obscure their trail. But the wolves are always there. Sometimes they are glimpsed as fleeting shadows between the trees. Other times their presence is merely a feeling, a pricking on the back of the neck. At night, their howls echo through the frozen valleys, a serenade of impending death that denies the clan the solace of deep sleep. Hunger is a constant, gnawing companion, a cold fire in their bellies that mirrors the frost on the ground. The matriarch knows they are being herded. The wolves are not just following, they are directing, subtly cutting off routes to higher ground, pushing them toward open, indefensible territory. Their energy is failing. The youngest child, carried on Mara's back, has begun to cough, a dry, rasping sound that cuts through the silence. On the third day of the pursuit, the pack decides the time is right. As the clan crosses a snow-dusted clearing, the wolves attack. It is not a frenzied charge but a coordinated assault. 3 wolves faint from the might, drawing the clan's attention and their few pieces of primitive technology. Fire-hardened spears. As Kale and the others pivot to face the threat, the Alpha and Tamor materialize from the left flank. The ensuing chaos is a blur of snarling fury and desperate courage. Kale is a whirlwind of violence. He moves with a speed that belies his bulk, his heavy spear a devastating extension of his will. The thud of wood striking bone is followed by a wolf's scream of agony as its leg shatters, but for every blow he lands, the pack presents a new threat. They are a fluid entity, testing, probing, flowing around the clan's small island of defiance. It is an impossible equation, a truth central to the long story of human evolution, the strength of the individual against the intelligence of the collective. In that maelstrom, the Alpha sees its moment, as Kale recovers from his swoon. The great grey wolf lunges, not for the throat, but for the leg, its jaws, designed to splinter the femurs of mammoths, close on Kale's calf. The sound is sickening. A wet crunch of sinew and bone. Kale roars, a sound of pure agony, and smashes the butt of his spear into the Alpha's head, driving it back. Mara and the matriarch surge forward, and for a moment, the wolves give ground, melting back into the trees. But the damage is done. Kale tries to put weight on his leg and collapses into the snow, which is already blooming with a crimson flower of his own blood. The tactical retreat has just become a death march. The retreat is no longer a retreat. It is a slow, agonizing crawl. Each step Kale takes is a fresh wave of nausea and fire. He leans heavily on Mara, his sister, whose smaller frame strains under his weight. The red trail he leaves in the snow is a beacon for the hunters that shadow them. They are no longer hiding. They are simply moving, buying inches of ground with gallons of strength. The wolves are patient. They follow at a distance, a silent, grey promise of the inevitable. They can smell the blood. They can sense the failing energy. The cold, once a mere hardship, is now an active predator, seeping into Kale's wounded leg, turning the flesh numb and stiff. This grim chapter of hominid history is written not in stone, but in the bloody snow of a forgotten winter, a scene lost to prehistory. Kale sees the truth in the matriarch's eyes. She looks back at him not with pity, but with a terrible, pragmatic calculus. She is weighing his life against the lives of the children, against Mara, against herself. The arithmetic of the blood is unforgiving. A core tenet of evolution documentary is understanding that survival is a matter of ruthless efficiency. He sees his own reflection in her gaze. He is an anchor. He is the stone that will drown them all. The child's cough is weaker now, a fragile flutter in the vast silence. Mara's breath comes in ragged sobs of exertion. They will not leave him, and because they will not leave him, they would all die. It is in this moment that the true nature of their intelligence, the legacy of all human ancestors, shines brightest. It is not in the sharp flint or the fire-hardened spear. It is in foresight. It is in the ability to see the end of the path and to choose another. Kale stops. He gently pushes Mara away. She stumbles, looking back at him, her face a question he cannot answer with words. He simply shakes his head. He turns to the matriarch, and a lifetime of unspoken trust and shared struggle passes between them in a single, silent glance. She understands. She dips her head, the barest acknowledgement of the price being paid. She grabs Mara's arm and pulls her forward, her voice a harsh command that breaks the stillness. The clan moves on. Mara looks back once, her face a canvas of anguish. Before the trees swallow them, Kale is alone. He limps to a small granite outcrop, placing his back against the unyielding stone. He breaks his long spear in two, gripping the jagged end as a shorter, more brutal weapon. The act is not one of despair, but of purpose, his life for theirs. It is a concept known as kin selection, a sacrifice that ensures the survival of his own bloodline. The first of the wolves materializes from the twilight. The scarred alpha. It does not charge. It sits in the snow, watching him. Soon it is joined by the others, forming their familiar, silent crescent. The hunt is over. The long watch begins. The snows of that winter have long since melted, erased by thousands of subsequent seasons. Kale's bones were scattered by scavengers and returned to the soil, his name and his sacrifice known only to the wind. There was no glory in his end, no song to commemorate his choice. Yet, the echo of his action is the bedrock on which we are all built. In that final, solitary defiance, we see not the end of a single life, but the crystallization of a strategy that would allow our lineage to inherit the earth. It is the understanding that the strength of the pack is not in its strongest jaw or sharpest claw, but in the willingness of one to stand for the many. This is the brutal, beautiful paradox of human evolution. Our survival was purchased not by individual dominance, but by acts of profound, often tragic, community. The fire Kale's family carried forward was more than just burning wood. It was the ember of altruism itself, and we, sitting in our lit world, are all the children of that flame. How much of that primal contract do we still honor, now that the wolves at the tree line are no longer visible? The silence of prehistory is not empty, it is listening. But what happens when the threat is not from without, but from within?